Today, we're making Mukohda's ginger fried boar from Campfire Cooking in Another World. To bring to life his cozy dish, I even tracked down the exact bottled sauce he uses. But how does it stand up against a homemade version? Let's find out. In every anime, there's bound to be one cheat skill that you want, such as Itemo Botsu! Oh my god. I can't believe I did that for free. Anyways, thanks to the guild, I got some freshly slain red boar. Or at least that's what they told me. Oddly, it kinda looks like pork chops. First, we need to marinate the meat. Mukohda used his online grocery skill to purchase this exact sauce. Ibarra's ginger pork glaze. It doesn't say for how long, but I recommend for at least 20 minutes, which gives you plenty of time to Google what we're actually making. In Japanese, this dish is called shogayaki. It's thinly sliced pork cooked in a savory and sweet ginger glaze that's typically made of soy sauce, ginger, sake, and mirin. Mukohda made this dish for the mercenary party protecting him, and it smelled so good that it caught the attention of the legendary Fenrir, Fel, who promptly became his loyal bodyguard and personal meat supplier. Meanwhile, I'm still waiting on my shiny Fenrir to bring me something cool. Any day now, bud. While the meat is marinating, we want to prepare the thinly sliced cabbage. Maybe start by sharpening your knife. This is proving to be much more difficult than expected. Wait a minute. This is totally an impulse purchase that I got recently, and I blame Future Canoe. It's a cabbage slicer and you totally don't need one, but I really wanted to try it. Why is this kind of fun? I thought it might be kind of gimmicky, but it actually works surprisingly well. Now let's start cooking the meat before I eat all of this. To a pan on medium heat, let's add a little bit of oil. I guess there's some differences between anime and reality. Once your pan is warm enough, gently lay down your meat like a baby in a hot cast iron and pour in any leftover marinade. I was pretty greedy, so I layered on extra sauce for good measure. Cook on one side for about 3 minutes before flipping over to cook for another 1 to 2 minutes. We don't want the meat to turn into leather, but there's also no such thing as pork sashimi, so use your best judgment. Plate it up with thinly sliced lettuce and milk bread, and there you have it! Mukohda's ginger fried boar. Now we can eat. This is actually the exact instant onion soup that Mukohda used. I've never tried it before, so let's see how it tastes. Actually not bad. It comes in the powdered form and you just pour hot water on it, very simple. As long as you don't use too much water, I think the flavor is actually pretty decent. This was so easy to make, but how does it taste? Mukohda was right. When the pan gets really hot, this sauce just kind of like caramelizes. I'm surprised by, how easy it was to make this. And flavor-wise, it's actually pretty decent. I'm so glad I got that cabbage shaver. Thinner cabbage is so much nicer to eat. Typically, you use a pork that is even thinner, so this is a dish that cooks super quickly. Mukohda's version uses much thicker pork, and I was afraid that it would get too tough, but it's actually really good. I think the pre-made sauce is a little bit on the salty side. Maybe that can be balanced by other additives, or I'm just a salt hater, but for a pre-packaged sauce, I think it's pretty good. What I really want to do is try to eat it the sandwich style. This is so messy, but I think that looks pretty good. This dish is usually consumed with rice, so it's not that far-fetched to trade it off for a different carb. The sauce just by itself was a little bit salty. This milk bread, which has sugar in it, actually makes it much more balanced flavor-wise. Last bite. I do want to warn you that while Mukohda basically purchased this for 2 pennies and a piece of chewed up gum, the sauce is quite expensive and uncommon in the Western world due to being a relatively niche product. So I'll show you how to make your own. For this homemade version of the sauce, we're gonna need a lot more ingredients. And to keep things consistent, we're gonna use the same type and amount of meat. To help the flavors really infuse into the meat, let's finally grate some of these. The more ginger you use, the spicier it is, but since I'm a coward, I used only about 25 grams. 1/4 of an onion and 1/4 of an apple peeled for sweetness. Combine them in a small dish and add 1.5 tablespoons of mirin, 1.5 tablespoons of cooking sake, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and stir to combine. This is our ginger glaze, which will be used to marinate the pork for 20 minutes. Or at least that's what I like to say, but to be honest, I was so tired when I filmed this that I mentally checked out and forgot this very important step. So don't mind me and let's just close one eye and pretend that these were actually marinated. The cooking process is similar to before. Cook on one side for 3 minutes, then another for 1 minute before adding any remaining marinade. The reason why we don't dump the marinade in early is to give the pork a fighting chance to brown a bit on both sides. After another minute, take the pork out to prevent overcooking, and I like to leave the sauce to simmer for a little bit by itself to slightly caramelize and thicken up. Just don't do it for too long or your ginger, onion, and apple bits will burn, like the dumpster fire that is the US politics. Spoon the sauce over your pork, and there you have it! Homemade ginger fried boar. Val edition. Kept the plating very simple, so I guess we can think of this as Val's version. Let's give it a try. With the Ibarra sauce, the ginger is kind of there, but it's not fresh ginger. With this, you get really like the spicy punch of the ginger. Feel free to add more ginger if that's your thing. To be honest, I also slightly overcooked this because the pork is so thin, you really have to move fast. 3 minutes on one side and then 1 minute on the other, and then you gotta add the sauce in, and everything just has to move quickly. Personally, I prefer the flavor of this. It's much like punchier. Is it bad if I say that I prefer the Ibarra sauce? That sauce stays thick after cooking, which I personally really like. They have some kind of emulsifier. Before I continue, do you have words that you've just never pronounced out loud before? Well, here's mine. I believe it was Xanax gum. Xanthan. I mean xanthan gum. My brain saw the alphabets X-A-N and was like, there's only one thing I know that starts with that. Yup, makes sense. Anyways, I'm gonna save this for tomorrow because it's way too late to be eating all this, but I hope you enjoyed this episode and I'll see you next time. Bye!